So let's finish this off. Um, so close to finishing now. A little bit more of this green, and then it is just this blue to get on with. All right. I'm excited to see how it all kind of pans out. I might not do the whole wrap around. I might do the wrap around like as a separate kind of view, because to be honest, that's just a tedious thing to do. Like, I'll be able to do that later on, and I don't think you guys really need to see that, unless you do. It's great to get back onto things with fresh eyes as well. Like when you're ever working on a project and you just need to drop on it, definitely consider just coming back to it, because yeah, like, it's good. Alright. Oh, let's bring this up so you can see me, and also I'll bump in. Hello, hello, Thomas. Or Denny. How are we? We're so close on this one. Whoa. That's great. Oh crap. Alright, time for the blue boy. Hey, hey. Yeah, all the colours are coming in to place now. Just getting this blue on, which will take probably about an hour or two. So, I've got all the time in the world right now. So, yeah, how have you been, man? And how are you, Vitamin C? Yeah, I'll put my chat on the side over here so I can actually see you guys. There we go. All right, yeah. So thanks for dropping in. It's all coming together now. Pretty excited for the results. Okay, drawing a bit now. Cool. Nice. What are you illustrating? Yeah, I'm in my doodle face tattoo phase. Nice, man. Is it quite traditional and easy to do on that one that you're doing? Digital or traditional? Do, 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 do. Digital for now, but I'm trying to work with really basic programs like Google Canvas. It's like MS Paint, but online. Yeah, sounds cool. Kind of reminds me of a GIMP then, if that's the case. GIMP's kind of like the free um, Photoshop tool that's online. Though, if you want to go something like one up from programs like that, maybe either using Blender or Affinity. Affinity is almost on par with Photoshop now, as well as their Illustrator kind of tool, which is their designer one, and publishing one, which is like InDesign. But yeah, when it comes to using like software tools, either try and use something as free as possible if you are doing it all for yourself. But say for instance, if you're trying to work on client work, don't be afraid. Don't be shocked that they'll want you to work in Photoshop, because one, they can afford it, and two, they can get it cut off on their tax, so they don't have to pay much tax. It's probably the only reason why Photoshop is so expensive. When you see all these other companies kind of delivering a similar kind of product but at a cheaper rate. But the thing you face with premium software as well is the fact that they're making it expensive on the way that only a certain variety of people are going to use it because it costs that amount. So it creates a niche variety of people and less competition. Like if it was completely free and it was amazing, everyone would be doing it, and it might explode the competition to a rate that's too saturated and no one can actually benefit from it because everyone's getting attention. Kind of why they're cracking down on piracy at the moment. It's not because they're not getting their money, it's because they're trying to eliminate competition now. And especially nowadays, because everyone's indoors and all that, I think they're going to crack down even further. Because you have all these skilled individuals that have learned all this Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign without kind of paying for it. So there's a lot of skilled designers, but apparently Adobe don't like that, or many businesses. Granted, I can understand, because say for instance you're spending lots of money to kind of show your work, and it's not usually just merit alone, it's also trying to get yourself seen. You could make the most amazing painting ever, but if your advertising doesn't work, it's going to bugger you. So those last months I tried to avoid working with the computer because I wanted to feel more primitive vibes. Love the word that you like using, primitive, in my work. So it works with the computer going on a basic seems to be the right option. I have Illustrator, but it's high tech for what I want to do now, even if I could do it with Illustrator too. That's fair enough. Again, when it comes to, like, as you say, primitive work, I wouldn't say it's primitive. I think you've got to kind of work smarter than harder, sort of idea. So if you can communicate the same idea aesthetically and pleasingly through something more simplistic, then do that. There's this artist that I've recently started to follow. His name's like Tomatoes something, and his work is very gestural based, but in comparison to an anatomical drawing or something like that, I prefer his work on the basis that it's got character, it's got movement, it's got all these things which kind of are exaggerated, but they are exaggerated with purpose, but also exaggerated on a way where it's easy for him to do because that's what he likes doing, so he's doing it like that. Like, make your life easier for yourself. And again, there's this idea of finding your place in the world as well. Like, you shouldn't do everything. That's why you should follow people. Like, they might be doing amazing things. Like, I would love to be the most amazing manga artist or designer or something like that, but I don't think I'm ever going to get into that area. And I've got so many other things I want to do. I'm not going to hoe down on that focus. But what I am going to do is still work and make things easier for myself, like making rugs. I like it. It's easy. It's fun. I know I can do it. But I think it takes a while when you come to that realization that, yeah, keeping it simple is actually the way to go. Because, one, people follow the work which you thought, why are people buying this? Or why are people want this stuff? I thought they wanted this high grade stuff. 9 times out of 10, they probably want something from you because it's you. So it's a nice perspective that people actually want your stuff because of your own merit. Might not even be the work itself. But the thing is, they like your style. They've actually kind of, they respect it. They want to kind of be involved with it. Which is awesome. So, yeah, just keep it simple, man. Just quickly type something down here. Yeah, if you want to see some more of my older stuff, you might see the 100 project that I did last time. Like, my YouTube channel is very low in subscribers, especially this, but again, I'm starting on all this. Should we see where it's going? Oh, look at that blue. That is nice. That's going to come out really, really nice. Yep, simplicity is the way. I want to go with my work now, and and in the end, it's reflecting more of who I am and what I want to do. Well, yeah, it's all your work is going to definitely be a reflection of yourself, maybe even your character, and how you perceive yourself. Which is also a very scary thing in the art world because there's no kind of hiding your identity, because if someone's a good seer of work, can really look at your work and know what you're actually communicating with, they will know more than you actually know about yourself. But then you get the Ponzi-ass people who think they're the most amazing art critic ever and know exactly what the piece is, and you can either go, yeah, that is exactly what I was going with, thank you, you know who I am, or you can go and point out how much of a bullshitter they are and how they just think that they have a perceptive of colour or how a certain thing was used is exactly what the artist was trying to portray. But 9 times out of 10, that person wasn't just had that colour lying about and needed to use it all because it was going to go off. I'm going to go check your YouTube. Thanks, man. Yeah, literally, it's a load of the Twitch feeds. So I am recording it all, and it's going on to YouTube. I will be doing another thing where I won't have this overlay, and you'll be able to check that out as well. Also, I got a great recommendation from one of my uni mates about like how I should be looking at my store, and I think it's kind of exactly what I wanted to do, but I just didn't know I wanted that kind of style to begin with, because I essentially want to be making content and I want to be getting people to like watch videos or seeing my work, then not just kind of buy it itself. Buying it, oh, that's a great feeling, but I would say that's more for collectors and all that. But I want to provide something for people who just really like the work as well. So find some sort of like merch view and make it easy for them to kind of have the stuff that they follow instead of buying these originals and spending far too much money on something that is in its turn is valuable in that way. But yeah, I think I'm going off on a tangent there, but yeah. I might be doing a rug making goal. I mean, as in getting a rug gun, so I can get my work done a bit faster. Yeah, again, with rug making, you don't need to go like so close to the lines of each other. You don't want it too tight. I learned that the hard way because it will crumple like the circle, so it'll be like contorted. And it just went lie flat. But there's also a hard balance as well, because if someone kind of brushes through it, it might see the gaps, and like for me, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to see that. But it's that saying that less is more sort of thing. Yeah, I imagine rug gun could really be nice to work faster and produce more rug in less time. Yeah, but I do see a small problem with it. It matters on the canvas that I'm using. I probably wouldn't be able to use the rug gun on this. One, because the spacing, and also the fact that if I want to do a circle rug, this is going to get affected. So I might be able to draw a circle with this, but the gun's going to need more space, which means there might be a lot more wasting. But I think I won't mind wasting that product if I can get the stuff done faster, sort of thing, and then possibly get more commissions done at a faster rate too. So more commissions, more rug, more pennies, and less 19p noodles. Yeah, on the rug gun videos that I watched, they're doing multiple pieces on one canvas. One big canvas to avoid losing too much fabric. Yeah, well, you want to be as efficient as possible. Well, effective and efficiency is the biggest mindset to have as well. I think only recently rug making has made a comeback massively again. It wasn't like this at all. Like back in 2013, no one would have even like suggested the idea of making these things. But now I think, not because of lockdown, but I think from a few London-based artists or designers, and how easy it is to kind of make stuff, especially the fact that you can use more 2D illustrations to your rug making, right? Especially on how artwork right now is very flat based. You see with Apple's Big Sur and all these other kind of companies using that very basic looking format, but very hard hitting. There's a reason for that. It's because these companies are trying to embed the image into your retina. Essentially, it's easier to recognize a logo if it's as simple as anything. Like, we recognize circles and squares and diamonds and all that. If your logo has less aesthetic information and more kind of just straight flat, and you can see it literally whilst closing your eyes, then it's a really good logo. But I'm sure that will change again, matters based on people's interest of what they want to see in a logo or what they want to get out of a company. Plus it helps with the iconography, so it could easily fit on the side of your web page, it can be put in the browser, it can be put like on small letterheads. It actually uses less ink than having something like metallic looking or very complex. And you can turn them into stamps, you can turn them into all these other things. But I think when everyone goes simple, that's when you change the game, because you've got to go the complete opposite. Usually people go on the nostalgic point of view, kind of create something what was created from the past and bring it anew. Yep, I completely agree. I always try to stay simple when I design logos. Yeah. Plus, imagine if you're working with a variety of clients and they come back to you with so many changes and all that. If you give them like something quite basic, even though it's probably taking you ages to do, there might be less changes. Well, there's going to be less changes than it is if you're going to use like a whole lot of work on something and they just go, no, we've decided to go with something different now. Thank you for taking over the work for the time being, but we've decided to choose someone else's work. Kind of is like, well, I've just wasted 60 hours on a piece of work which I could have done in 3 hours, and they probably would have said yes. Or even if they did say no, it's not a big worry. But there is a big difference between quality simple work and like not just improvised work, but work which is literally you've done something and you haven't put any thought into it really. You've just done it because people want it, like a functional piece than a quality piece which like people want, what the client wanted, sort of thing. But now the other problem is there is a following for people to create things which are slightly like imperfect and not like visually pleasing. Like a few albums back in 2017, I think there was some like by the Arctic Monkeys. It was just really, really box standard basics, no effort, but it was like anti-art, which made it art. And that wasn't because I've got a hate for the Arctic Monkeys or a hate for the artists who created that piece. It's just you can visually tell that they've intentionally gone for that reason, which in itself is a bit, well, that's pretty genius. They've gone the opposite of what other people like. A few Dre albums did it. I think, isn't it? Who did Damn? It was Dre who did Damn, or was it ASAP? I can't remember, but or was it no? Was it Lamar? One of those guys. But it was in that kind of time. Don't worry, clients will always want stupid unfiltering and changes about their logo, and I experienced it a lot. Yeah. Well, unluckily for me, I experienced it in a different way. So I had to do work for a client, and it had to go through like an approvals stream before the client actually saw the work. And the problem that I faced was when I first started, for the first 3 weeks, I had a boss who literally ran everything and said, your work's great, it's perfect, it's brilliant. After those 3 weeks, a new kind of management person came in who was another director. There were two directors, and unfortunately one was Mrs. Yes and the other one was Mrs. No. And every time I gave it to Mrs. No, she would say no, and it was terrible. And they would ask for these amendments, and these amendments were actually for them to kind of put their own mark on it, to kind of put, oh, I was a part of this kind of design, instead of actually relying on what the client asked for, as well as relying on the skill of the people that they've hired. They actually were like, no, I want my kind of image onto it as well as what you've created for the client. Which in turn creates terrible pieces of work because your director was in the design industry but back in the 90s, so they've only got perspective of stuff which is extremely outdated and just doesn't work anymore. And then the client going, no, I didn't want that, we wanted this, which was exactly what was created in the first place. But I think I was a bit also young and naive on the basis that I was far too protective of the work as well. So when I got the whole, no, this is not what we want from the director, it was a bit hard hitting. But I was a newbie, I was a junior, and they didn't really offer any guidance because they were putting me in through a mid-weight senior role, and this is someone who's fresh out of university. University not teaching you these skills except for the jobs that I did on my own merit through the Ideas Factory, with talking to the business part of the university instead of actually talking to the educational side of uni. That made a bit. I need to put some there, or I'll just keep going and then fix that later on. It might not need fixing. It Look at that blue. Oh, beautiful. Let's get this side. Oh, nuts. Right, while I fix that, I'll just keep that there. Yeah, that's the thing with graphic design work. It's a subjective field, so everyone thinks that his advice is the best. Yeah. But these were also, my boss was, their attitude was time is money is time. Time is money. So you've got to work this really fast. However, they also wanted their own perspective on it. And I love the fact that they said, we're not Saatchi and Saatchi, so we don't have all the time in the world. I'm like, well, then stop criticising the work and see what the client says. Because a few times I've actually sneakily jumped to the client, then actually go straight to my directors to oversee it. And would you believe it? Every time I showed it to the client, they liked it, and every time that happened, I got sent to the office because they were like, "Well, what's our job here for? Like, what do you want to be the director?" And I was like, "Well, you know, that would be a great job opportunity, but I wouldn't like it at the pay that I'm at right now." But I didn't last long there, and it was a shame really because it was so close by. But I was too annoyed with just how indecisive they were. Which also was a bit of a shot shooting myself in the foot because it kind of dropped me away from furthering my opportunity in graphic design or working for a company. I could have just tried to work for another business. But, oh well. Yep, always used a little story to explain this to people, comparing graphic design with a doctor. Yeah, you don't tell. You don't get the surgeon's boss in to kind of say, "Oh, you know that surgery that you did? I didn't like it. The stitching was wrong, so you never know. I think you need to go back into surgery and sort that stitching out because it's not great. Even though you've done it your way, I don't like. Do it my way, which is using a staple gun." Yeah. If only it was easier. Oh, bugger. People engage a graphic design. People engage a graphic design, so he will make the best logo for you, what he studied for several years. But in the end, the client will say, "No, I think you did it wrong, and you should do it like this." Well, on that basis, it is the client's work. Um, you can use that piece for like portfolio kind of work, or maybe talking to another client. That work isn't dead, essentially, but I'd say it's a bit different from your director directing you from the work than actually the client wanting a specific thing. Like, there's a story about a campaign that goes down, and the client is talking about, yeah, I want you to do an article on this new medical product that we're bringing out, and it's gonna be amazing because we're doing a campaign where I want people to know that we're spending all this money in and all that. So this team did all of that. They also did one further as well. They got information on what the thing does, how it works, and why it's doing this, and how is it going to impact on people in the future, and what new implications of technology and science are going to bring to it. But the client said, "What is all this? Why have you created that? I just wanted you to create something which has my name on it and shows how much money we're putting into this. I don't want this information. It's not what we asked for." So they created something really amazing and very informative for people, but in actual fact they just wanted to show that this person was spending X amount of money, so they possibly would get voted into like their constituency sort of thing. So they win their Conservative votes instead of Labour beating them. Well, when the final logo is ugly and it looks nothing good, the one you did, you don't really want to show it. Yeah, at least it was the case for me. Usually clients always want the logo bigger and more in the center. Well, if you're going to go big, go big. Sometimes you have to give some representation, but at the end of the day, you can show off the ones which you've created, because it goes, well, this is how I would have done it, this is my professionalism, and that's what I created, this is what the client went with. In comparison, what you can show what their competitors have, if you ever work with their competitor, and go, well, do you want to go with this idea, because they kind of said no to it. Always utilize the things which, yeah, you think was a good idea, because more than likely, yeah, it's a good idea. And sometimes the client that you're working for is the admin part for another client, so you're not talking to a designer, you're probably talking to an admin, like a financial department, and they're going, I like the look of this one, this has a bit more of my input into it as well. So technically you're going back into that whole director loop where someone is trying to put their own kind of tinge to it as well. Most logos in my portfolio weren't the ones which were selected. You know what you like. Again, it can also be the fact that your character or your personality is embedded into the work that you create, but sometimes people don't vibe to one's personality. Like, I know I don't vibe to my own because I'm always like self-conscious on how I sound. It's either too posh or too country or too whatever. I can't really decide. But that's a confidence thing, I think. Just know, yeah, not everyone's gonna follow your kind of vision or visionary. And that's good as well, because if everyone kind of followed your vision, then everyone would be the same, and that would be all kind of boring. And undoubtedly, you can fight against the status quo on it, like. Kind of, would you be willing if you are talking direct to the client who's actually owns the business, or if you're not, tell them to kind of consider both things. You'll do what you want, but also consider this as an alternative. But never be too protective of your work, especially as a graphic designer. It is not about protecting what you've created. It's about producing something for the client. That's where there's a big difference with illustrators and graphic designers. They need to have that sort of resilience to kind of be like, oh, this is my work and it's solely what I've created, and they've hired me based on this style. They probably hired you because you're the client that they first found and like, yeah, I kind of like the work, but not fully invested in your work. That's where with illustrators they do, well, illustrators and fine artists, they do have that. Again, like I said, if fine art and graphic design had a kid, it would be illustration. So it kind of holds both worlds. So at heart, you're definitely probably an illustrator. I know most graphic designers are very protective of their work, but you have to mindset into being a design monkey or design zombie for people who can't do it. Graphic designers have better job security, but illustrators are also more likely gonna have like more higher paid work, but it doesn't mean it's gonna be like, say for instance, an illustrator makes $5,000 on a project. That could be only $5,000 in that year they ever make. But with a graphic designer, they are on $23,000 as a junior, and they've got job security, and they know how much they're making a year, so they can kind of save up to where. Yeah, most likely it's my poor hair. I think it learnt me a lot, but that's a bit what I'm going more artistic and illustration than pure graphic design. I like the concept of the design monkey, design zombie. But it happens. Especially it's the fight between people who know how to use Microsoft Office and those who are using Adobe for their it's essentially project. Hydrate. But I aspire graphic designers massively, because to deal with the shitty clients like you did in retail is like phenomenal, because you're working even harder now, but you're doing something you love, so there is some sort of medium, I guess. Fruitella and fresh water, yeah. I love the aesthetic of Fruitella. It kind of looks, I don't know if it's Spanish or if it's European, but it also has that kind of oriental feel, a Japanesey look to it. I think it's either the colour palette that they use or just it looks really dope. Plus it's a Batman sweep. almost an hour and a half into this. I'm afraid when I'm doing this end, it's going to be pretty tough. So I'm going to have to do that in smaller sections. I don't think we have that around here. In the same style, I love Surges candles. I don't know if they're sold in the UK. I don't know, man. If you pop a link down, definitely look at the image and see what they look like. Kind of matters what part of England you're in, because we're such a world country that we've got like everything here. Of course, we have our favourites like Cadbury and all that, but I just found a Chinese shop round my area, and they had Bickle. Never tried Bickle before, but it tastes like Yakult. I think there's a guy who really likes Bickle. Bickle. Oh yeah, we've got them, kind of. But yeah, they're in like Lidl or Aldi in our places. But yeah, they're like they're the lower tier candies apparently over here. Like the upper tier, you've got Frutella, Chewits. If you're in that like chewy flavored candy sweets, it's usually Bertie Bassett's fruit salads and blackjacks is the thing over here. See, the first one I think a lot of people would eat would be the purple ones. Like in any kind of, or even Starburst, for instance. Top tier is Starburst. Then I'd say it goes Chewits, and then it goes Frutella, and then the lower tier ones. Oh, like Malwam or Mentos. Not the only one. Fair enough. So, is English your first language, man? Because you're very like well versed with what I'm saying, or at least grasping what I'm saying really well. Like for me, I couldn't grasp French or Belgium or Dutch at all. But I guess English people are quite dumb in general. That's only speaking for myself, and maybe the whole of England, because what was it? Half of us voted for Brexit, which is definitely a smart move. No, first language is French. Ah, d'accord. Then again, I guess having English as a first language, it's very strange to not feel like bombarded with a lot of English kind of advertisements, videos, films, music. I guess when you have a first language being something other than English, it's kind of like, I guess it's very intrusive. You're saying, that's how I perceive it, I guess. But let's say I practice my English a lot with a Welsh guy. Good old Welsh. See, the nicer people are up north. It's only because they've got nothing to do and they can't be bothered to compete with each other. The more nastier people are down south, so people like Oxford area or London. Well, wouldn't say London. Well, yes, definitely would say London. But Cotswolds, nah. People from the Cotswolds are assholes. And that's saying from someone who's from the Cotswolds. Well, originally from the Cotswolds. Dun, dun, dun. Welsh people are not easy to understand where they're slanging together. Ah. So you're talking about Cardiff, Wales, instead of like, oh, then again, you've got like up north as well, like Chester area. I'm talking kind of like Middle Wales. Middle Wales is nice as well. So you've got like Shropshire, Llandovery, all those kind of areas. Like it's kind of Herefordshire as well at the same time. Those, because yeah, I boarded school at Buckingham in Wales, well in Shropshire, nearby Shrewsbury. Big weird posho place. Though I didn't like hang with the posh kids because screw that. Especially someone who's from a RAF family, I don't think they really wanted to connect with me because I didn't have like all that stuff, which maybe those guys had. But it's nothing in comparison to like what Eton and all that places like where all Ponzi-ass politicians come from. I just know that my friend was taking care of speaking slow when we were talking together, but when I was speaking English with another Welsh person, it was impossible for me to understand a word. Sure, it wasn't Irish. Because those guys can speak a mile a minute, especially if they like to travel a lot. It's young Welsh slang. Spoken very fast. Fair dues. Fair enough. Like, the town that I'm in right now, I wouldn't say is my hometown. I don't really have a hometown anymore because I've lived here for so long. But, like, the slang around here is just, they think they want to be from London, but they sound like complete and utter twats. Like, hey, bruv, what's going on, bruv? Bruv, 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 bruv. Like, dude, Chav's kind of disappeared ages ago. Why are you speaking like that? No, it's like young Welsh. See, you want to go to Yorkshire. Now, they talk really, really, really slow. I love them. Like, I have a few Yorkshire friends as well. Like, shout out to Vitamin C. He's got a music channel, DJ station on Twitch as well. He's Vitamin Sound, and yeah, he's from Yorkshire. Like, doesn't totally sound Yorkshire, but he's there. He's living in London area now. As I've never really learned English in school, I have a wobbly English, and I can have difficult to understand accents. Fair enough. I hope you can follow along with my accent, man. My accent's like, it's called mongrel because it's like a bit of Shropshire, a bit of Wiltshire, a bit of Suffolk, Norfolk, London, Oxford, all that kind of stuff. So, like, this is the general English voice. So I'm a British mongrel. It's only because I had to move around whilst my dad was in the RAF. Yeah, I have a generic British accent, and that's... Oh, you have a general British accent. That's completely okay for me to understand. Nice. Yeah, when I was in New York back in 2011, I tried to ask for coffee. Like, I said, can I have some coffee? And like, what? Coffee, tea, just coffee. I didn't understand it when someone else asked for coffee. They're like, oh, coffee. That is exactly what I just said. Like, how did you not get it? I was like even trying to speak it in an American language. Coffee or something like that. And it just, nope. It did not register with them. Given it was like probably 6 in the morning for them, and we were like 6 hours ahead. And it being minus 11 degrees Celsius. Speaking of which, yeah, it was around this time last year. You're not missing much. You've seen it all in films. When I went to New York, I thought, oh my god, I'm going to be like so inspired. And it's going to be so cool because I'm going to see all these museums and all this stuff. The art in the museums was amazing because I saw a few of my favorite artists, like Jasper Johns, Andy Warhol, and a few other leading artists. Maybe Susan Sontag had some of her manuscripts or writing in there, but like the visual side of it, walking through Ground Zero, didn't feel everything. I went round Liberty. It was just, I think it was because how the shops were portrayed. Like when you're in France, like say for instance you went to Paris, like, or talking about Parisians here, minus the gypsies around, you go from one shop to another and it is in sync with each other. So you'd have Ferrari one end and some Versace and all these other kind of high-end stores next to each other. And if you went into another section, you'd go through like the artist city, and there was a lot of culture, a lot of music, a lot of gardens everywhere. In America, Central Park is like way out from like the actual city itself. You got to take a cab to all these other towns. So, say for instance, if you want to go to, like, I think the Apple Building's on Fifth Avenue. If you want to go to the Apple Building, and then you want to go to, say for instance, like American Republic, like Times Square, and that is not like a walk away. Really, it's pretty long to get around, and it's just poorly kind of designed, even though it's all blocked in comparison to France, where it's all kind of just squiggly around and everything. Though Paris was rebuilt after a certain amount of time, but it works. And I went to Paris for the first time just after I went to New York, because again, the college was offering another trip to somewhere, and I got a really cheap ticket to go because they needed more money in order to get there, and I was like, okay, I'll do that, and it cost me like a fifth of what these other people were paying for. So I was like really lucky there, and I loved it. It was the best thing ever, and because it was so close. Like, New York reminds me of London, but less. Like, it's not as good as London. But Paris just being even closer in comparison to New York, it was amazing. It felt great. The fact that it was in like the hottest week of March was even better. So end of February, -11, walking around in the blistering cold into like end of March time, searing heat, 24 degrees Celsius. It's brilliant. I've been there last summer. Yeah. Well, it probably was a bit quieter then, if you were there last summer. So you probably got a cheaper ticket as well. Oh no. So it was the summer before COVID. Ah, so it probably was pretty busy then. Did you go to any of the museums, like National Portrait Gallery, Versace Gallery, where they did the Tutankhamun stuff? Well, even the British Museum itself, the V&A, or go around Camden, like There is a lot. Okay, so to visit Kew Gardens. Ah, okay. Fair enough. Should probably go to, oh my god, Covent Gardens. That's a nice place to sit down and all that whilst everyone is hustling and bustling. But I don't get how people can afford to come here to like London and all that and visit all that when we go on holidays to go to other places because it's cheaper than actually spending stuff over here. I say, for instance, in New York, a pair of Levi jeans is about $35, whereas if you get it in London, it's about 100 and something quid, which then, in comparison, is about $200. Hello, Vitamin Sound. Thank you for not lurking anymore. Yeah, this guy, if you like it, like a DJ setup or that kind of vibe of music, then definitely follow Vitamin Sound. Not because he's my uni mate, but because he's actually really dope, and also he's on the graphic design side of things as well. We might be doing a collab at some point as well, especially with you, man. Like, still up for doing a illustrative collab. Well, not right now. I'll probably join you on that soon, man. Well, after this. We can probably continue more on a campaign if you want as well. Unless Alloys will be still on. Yeah, it's really cool when you do it as well. When I do it as well, because you have no idea if it's gone through properly or if it's actually looking any good. It's just kind of, you got to trust that it's actually working. Then it's not. Uh, like my first ones that I did of these, I was more happy about like this side than I was the actual other side. But because I've learned so much from how to actually make these rugs, just by either observing from other people or even trial and error. I think that's a big thing I forget most of the time when I'm illustrating is once I finish the piece uh, and reflect on it, it's like what? I've completely where am I? What am I saying? Oh shit! I've just lost track of thought there. Sorry, man. Like when I create a piece and I look on it and like, well, I can make it better next time, and I do because I've got all that memory or muscle memory as well from the previous illustration that I've done. But if you don't kind of practice or if you stop working for a while, you do lose that kind of muscle memory. Oh no, the music stopped. I'm gonna have to do that. There we go. Put my generic music on. I need to find some more DMCA free music. Because Harris Hiller's great, but to listen to him constantly all the time, it's a bit like. I wish Twitch just wasn't so hot on DMCAing people anymore, or even the DMCA. Because they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, like, oh, people are just not going to put their music on or even just outright avoid it. Like when Metallica fought against Napster, because they were more inclined of money than actually people's actual support for the band. But there is a grey area because it's like people need to pay the bills, sort of thing. Like, as much as I love 19p noodles, I can't survive on 19p noodles. But it's not exactly that they're going to lose out on a gold car. Halfway on the blue. That is real good. be so sad to see it go when someone buys it. Thanks, man. So yeah, we are definitely halfway on this. But I think this bit is going to take longer in comparison to doing that bit. Because it's just a bit more intricate and a bit tougher to get around. Plus might do 2 rows in this area. So once I've done this rug, I am possibly going to do a week of maybe an Illustrator piece, just to kind of keep the variety going. So that'll be me making some like asymmetrical illustrations, contemporary asymmetrical illustrations. I just need to build up my portfolio on that because it's starting to come to time when I have to pick up some clients. But I do need to update my portfolio, so I'll be doing that. You'll like it, man, too. I'll probably throw in a few artists and show like what inspiration I got from them. People who I even know as well, like how I'm inspired by their work and how it's influenced my work. But it can also be quite hard to kind of show your appreciation of your work to another person, well, a person that you know. Because one, it's like, well, am I copying them or do I feel like I'm copying them? But you shouldn't kind of think like that at all because the work that they've probably created was probably something influenced by someone that they knew or artists that are similar to the people that you kind of follow. I think one of my mates also had that kind of negative response when we did a gallery up in Norwich, when we did Unprescribed. I think people were comparing him to another artist, and it was like another local artist, but it wasn't the case. It's the fact that no, my work's like that, and that guy isn't the owner of that style of artwork, and no one is technically an owner of an artwork unless you literally have a license for it, such as Disney have a license, not to Disney style, but to say, for instance, if you are literally copying Mickey Mouse, then you're gonna have a very sticky situation. but not every company will go out and try and sue you, unless, say, for instance, you're Nintendo for some reason. But fandom work is quite hard to work on. So the thing is, everyone should be doing like loads of Waluigi characters instead. Not because Waluigi is amazing, but because Nintendo don't actually own Waluigi. Another company owns them. I think it's either Hasbro or who's that other one that's like Hasbro? Bandai might own them. Let's see, is that alright? Yeah, that's good. And I'll keep that at 2 as well. Well, it's because you don't want to kind of insult your friends as well. Like, you know, you really like their work and you're inspired by it and you want to do something in either in homage to it or make it and go, well, this is how I would do that approach. But sometimes that could come across as, oh, so the way that I do it isn't right, is it? But as long as you're good friends with that person, they should probably understand and get it. But God forbid if you get really good at their style or the style that they kind of started off with, and you kind of make it as your own, then there might be some conflict. But if they're a real good friend, then they should just kind of accept it and be like, well, I'll take some influences from your work and then make it their own. Again. But I think there's a grey area, there's a fine line between taking someone's work and being inspired by their work. It's better to not. Your hero will appreciate you more if you don't imitate them than just take some elements from what they've taught or done. How's the illustrating going on? It's okay, I had to stop a bit because I had some phone call to do. Yeah, that's fair. Usually when I'm on a phone call, I'm walking all around the place and then picking up random objects and putting it somewhere. And then when I'm off the call, I'm like, where did I put that thing I picked up? When I had my own place for a while, and I was on the phone to like family or people, I would actually play The Floor is Lava when I was on the phone, because it was just like it's always, you do weird stuff when you're on the phone. Administrative called everything to me. I was able to sell my work isn't easy. Yeah, that's fair enough. We have something similar here, but it's just registering your business. Luckily, I do mine month to month, then actually like every year, to kind of account my expenses, because it's just so much easier that way. It might be a bigger hassle later on, or when you go, oh bugger, I forgot something, or I forgot to put that down in that month. You can do an end of year one as well, as long as they roughly match up together. And if they pick you up on it, it's just, well, that's what I was doing at that time, and that's why the prices are a bit different. Well, the costs are a bit different. So, but I need to do more good admin stuff, such as putting more Facebook posts or Instagram posts of all the stuff I've been doing. I'm gonna have to go around that again. It's a bit tight. Yeah. People keep telling me, well, I keep also telling myself that, well, no one else is really going to do it for you, so you've got to do it yourself. I'm picking up someone who's possibly going to do like a load of meme stuff on the page, because they usually post loads anyway, so I'm just like, well, if you find any wholesome ones or something that you think would go on there, then yeah. It's like one at least about 3 per week on there, just to keep the activity on the page a bit more there. So if someone does kind of jump onto the page, it's like, oh yeah, that person hasn't posted something in like 5 days. Even though, yeah, I am really active and doing stuff. Because you might be active on one channel, but you never know. The person who discovers you thinks your channel's dead or your stuff's dead because you haven't done anything for it. It looks like you haven't done anything for a while. getting there. Look at that. I'm working on that too. I know that my Instagram is online and I have to think to make a Facebook page. Well, luckily you can interlink your Facebook and Instagram page. There's a product called Hootsuite. You can get a free account and you can put 3 social media pages on there and schedule for about maybe 30 things. So say for instance you do a post a day, well that's a month's worth of scheduling. And that could be sharing stuff that you like already, but like what I try and do, well I want to do is like have something scheduled for the month, then like work on things which I've seen or like, and I think maybe my audience would like that and see it, to just get an idea of like my interests, because I think people not only are invested in your work, but they're invested in you as well. So I'm working on that too, I know that. Ah, yeah, I said that. Do you have to add some glue or something to the back? Surprisingly, this is quite tough in general, so you don't need to use any glue at all, though it might be advised to use some sort of glue backing just so it doesn't get too messy. But even sometimes the glue can actually ruin it, so when it comes to the backing, it might help as a level to make it kind of straight or flat on the ground if it's starting to kind of bend and curve. Some people also get rid of this whole stuff and put maybe a Hessian background on it. So, say for instance, I could put this thing and use that as like the background on it, just to give it some more oomph, and then staple these together, well, glue these two together, and then I don't have to have that border rim around it. Or I could just use one of these hoops. It's based on what the client wants. Do they just want the rug itself, or do they want the hoop too? So I kind of put that as an option when someone buys something. They go with hoop or without hoop, and then also with it will be as a rug. But I would say this is a with hoop one. I'll just stretch it out so it works properly, and then it's just a hanging piece. Yeah. No. What's going on here? Oh, it's connected to that thing. Uh-oh. There we go. Ooh. Okay, I suppose it depends on if you want to use it for the floor as a rug or on the wall, as a tapestry or a piece of art. Well, they're all pieces of art anyway because they're handmade. So I would say tapestry making or craft making now, arts and crafts. If it's involved some sort of handmade thing, I would say it's more of an art piece than actually for a function of it being a carpet. But because of the size of it, I call these shields. So I could make a coat of arms for someone's birthday or something like that. But yeah, this would probably go on the wall, or maybe on top of some shoes, sort of thing. It's a piece to kind of add to another piece of work because of its size. But people will use that as a carpet. If I had used the 23-inch version or the 18-inch version, they might use it as a carpet. It matters what's on it, really. Ideally, I want these more on the wall, but if a customer wants it for their floor or something, then I'm not going to say, no, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? You shouldn't have this on the floor. It's a piece of art. Who's to say the canvas has to be on a wall? Yeah. I can definitely see this like in someone's stream, like this is in like the background of their house or something, and it's just, yeah. Yeah, once this one's done, I'll show you the comparison of like this one and compare it to the bigger one and what changes there have been. And also size comparison. How far are we in? We are in 2.5 hours. Did you use the Nintendo Direct? What do you mean, Thomas? I'm confused. Have you seen the new Pokemon releases? No, I haven't. I've just been on here. Why? Is there a new like Pokemon Stadium or something? Or are they like bringing back Pokemon? I'm more of a Zelda fan than anything. So if there's more word on like the 35th anniversary stuff, then definitely love to see that. Can spoil if you want. Yeah, do it. Because if I play something from Nintendo on here, I'll get sued. So remaking Diamond and Pearl looks really chibi, so not sure how to feel. Also a Pokemon Legends game. It's set in the past and looks really cool. And Pokemon. Oh, I remember playing Diamond and Pearl. I had Pokemon Diamond. I really wish I was well versed with Pokemon, man. But yeah, it sounds amazing. Towig, isn't that the one which has the bird with some sort of like celery in its hand? Or like green onion? Or a leek? As you can tell, I'm only good at the 150 Pokemon. The OG. Yeah, it's going pretty well. Look. Boop. Almost finished on it. Do, 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 do. I'll probably have to go back on that a little bit later on. Yeah, that needs a little bit more of a touch up. And I'll do that later on. How does that look on that side? Yeah. These cameras make it look different. Frutella break. Still in my pocket. Let's see. Have I got tons of messages? Oh, I had a missed call. It's probably just company. Very near, very near. The end of the rug is very near. I cannot wait. So yeah, once it's finished, I review it over, see what bits need a little bit more like string around, and I can just go straight onto it. It doesn't make any problems really. Oh, almost on 3 hours now. Went a little bit too far on that one. Oh, so close. It's almost finished. Okay, and now this is where I need to fix stuff. Oh. Okay. Oops, wrong way. It is finished, however, I've got to do some edits on it. So like where there's bits of missing areas, that needs to be fixed. But so close. Oh, wrong way. Thanks very much, man. So this is like the reviewing stage. So usually I flip the canvas over. But at the moment it's a bit of a problem. And then I stretch it all into place, making sure it's keeps on buggering up. Quickly. Okay. Slightly fix everything here. They are a pain in the ass, yes. So definitely right here needs to be sorted. Yeah, crop stitching sounds fun, but this is much easier, a lot more textured. But other than those things that I've got to do, it's done. Let's have a look where the sketch is. So I did 3 sketches, just small ideas, and then quickly did some colour on it on this here to get an idea of what I wanted, and yeah, it's gone out pretty well. So hiding that, because that could be turned into a little thing around it. So if someone didn't want a hoop, I could just put a black ring around it. But you need some of this stuff to do it. But ta-da! Alright, let's do some fixings. Of course that would unravel. So possibly in the next few days I'll get this up on the store, and then also I'll get the next project going as well. I might be AFK for a bit just so I can get warmed up for a different session. So I'll be spending a week doing illustration stuff, or using Illustrator as well, but I'll be sketching and getting some portfolio stuff done, because my portfolio is very bare at the moment. I kind of got stuck in that rut where I'm like, well, I'm earning money at this place, so I might as well just stay here, and then I'm just not earning enough to kind of get out, and then it's like, oh, spending too many hours here and it's not working out. Yeah, I'll fix that a bit. Yeah, it's done. Awesome. Ta-da. Cool. Illustrator is my favourite of all Adobe programs. See, Photoshop was my thing. I was able to kind of wow people like I was a magician or something, showing them these ways and how you can move literally one character into another setting with just using like the patch tool or content aware tool. Now it's upgraded massively since I last was on Adobe. This was back maybe 2017 I was using Adobe, because I jumped onto Affinity because I was doing more self-proclaimed work, but now I need more to work on clients. Their stuff is usually on Photoshop, so I'm just like, oh, I've got to relearn all this. But now that I've come back into it, I'm just like, I love Photoshop again. It's amazing. I just wish it wasn't as expensive that they're trying to get out of people, but I'm not that company, so yeah. Alright, so I'm done for that, and I will be done on the stream now. Probably do a little... Oh yeah, I was going to do a bit of a comparison. Yeah, you said about the glue. So this one here does have glue on it. It's just to kind of keep it somewhat like stopping it from curling, but it kind of curls as well because of the glue. So yeah, but this one, yeah, I did the outline first, so that's why it doesn't look as like nice in comparison to this one where I did the outline last. Sorry, I did the outline first on this, so I think there's a bit of a difference. definitely. But you can only learn, and also whilst I was like halfway through it, I couldn't really change it or go back. But I think it's pretty dope. Oh yes. Anyway, thanks for coming along and watching the stream today. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm going to put that on the side there. Oh. Just kind of show it off when it closes. Whoa. Bring it back. That's fine there. Yeah, again, thanks man. Give me an email and I will look at setting up maybe a collab on something. You too, man. You too. Have a great evening. And oh man, I got 3 minutes. I want to keep it like in every half an hour. So what can I do? Oh, I could do a little origami thing. See, I'm happy if it goes over, but oh, okay. Some Japanese writing, an amazing book. Boop. Oh, this is taped up. Damn. That's the book. Probably gets 1:30 when I open this. There we go. Make something real quick. Oh, it's got two-sided. Yeah, let's do one of those. You'll be shocked what this is. You're like, how did that turn into that? So origami actually helped me with my dyslexia. So me originally having really bad hand-eye coordination, this helped with, well, dyslexia and dyspraxia are kind of 2 and 2 together, but it also helped me cognitively understand people a bit more, because English wasn't my strong suit. So I hang with all the ESL kids, so Chinese, Japanese, French, Ukrainian, and Portuguese guys, as well as the Dutch and whatnot. We didn't have many French students, or lack of any French students at our boarding school, so yeah. And yeah, they taught me some origami stuff. We had it as a school activity too, so I got really obsessed with it, which kind of probably comes with my whole obsession with art as well. That it was a great tool for me to communicate with than just using the English language and spelling, which I extremely didn't excel at. Then the only other problem is the fact that I had all these Chinese and Japanese friends. They had books, they had manga books, and it turned me into a bit of a weeb. What am I saying? A bit? Of course it turned me into a fucking weeb. So yeah, I got into all the Japanese anime, manga, and all that sort of stuff. But what I loved about it was the fact that all the kids who didn't really read it or watch it or anything, they kind of were like trying to bully me, saying that it's all Pokemon. And I love the fact that I wasn't reading stuff like Pokemon. I was reading like things like Hellsing or like extremely gory stuff, like Kira, all these explicit, massively gory manga books, and they're like, yeah, you're just throwing Pokeballs in that book and all that kind of crap, because they didn't understand that there is something other than football and rugby. So yeah, I got into a lot of gory comics and art and all that, and yeah, if they actually knew what I was reading, they'd probably been like, shit. Either it's really dope or this is really, really intense. But unfortunately, manga and anime does turn you into a bit of a potato. Because, of course, you can't properly connect with people in a particular way because it's not the general norm. Myself, again, with all the Chinese and Japanese guys that I hanged out with, I got into badminton, tennis, and squash. Swimming was also one of my main things as well, but like, it was something different. I think, as a general stereotype, Westerners think more like, I would say constructively, subjectively. They think more subjectively, so they think like nouns. Whereas in places like Asia, Japan, and the East, really, they think more verbally in a more actional subcontext. So, say for instance, I want to use the cup idea. So the cup idea is like, I am going to have a cup of tea. Cup being the proverb or the noun, which is kind of in signifying the conversation. However, if I said it like this, I am going to be drinking this drink, I'm using drink as the verb and also as the noun, so as the actionable thing instead of the subjectivity of the action of what I'm doing. So like, I'm using the object to say what I'm doing instead of the actual action to say what I'm doing. If that makes sense. And it's very wholesome instead of yeah, another idea is like, say for instance, pack of Frutella. People might think singly, well, in a Western point of view, people will think it like 1, 2, 3 single pieces. However, in like Western, Eastern cultures, they will see it as a whole than as just individual pieces. But yeah, look at that. Boom. Yeah, football, not my thing, nor rugby. Though I was built like a rugby player, wasn't into contact sport. Found it a bit on the other side. Frutella canoe. Alright then. Now that's time. I will catch you later. Thanks for coming in again. I will be back soon. Sooner than later, possibly. Fingers crossed. Bye, man. Oh. That's where I turn it off.